Hello everyone to my newly created YouTube channel where I show you all cool possibilities, endless possibilities I should say, of AI agents and automations in a current reality, right? So we're gonna put my lovely agent Martin to work by chatting with him. I want to clean the chat, so save. I'll go back and chat. My friend, give my hacker news digest. All right. So while Martin is working, he's working hard, getting all those articles summarized for me. And we're going to look at the back end, right? Actually, what's happening over this external tool that I'm calling, the custom tool that I built a little later. So if you're not familiar with N8N, think of it as your personal automation assistant that can connect all your favorite tools and apps without you having to write tons of code. And it lets you create fully custom workflows that fit your unique needs. All right, so let's take a look what we got here. I added a node that, just to convert the text to HTML, create a file. We're gonna download that file, open it up. All right, so what we got here? We got Adams Bridge, an accelerator for post-quantum resilient cryptography. I remember those classes, cryptography in my school. Israeli intelligence influence in American media. Oh, interesting. How should debut novelist measure success? All right, challenges of scaling APIs. Here we go. An article, number of interested in scaling APIs seems while maintaining backwards compatibility. She shares insight for building Stripes API. And for the... Okay, so this one actually is interesting for me because APIs is major part of work that I do. So I might just go back and take a look at that article. All right, so let me just get back to my agent, and I'm gonna explain what I have here. So I connected the chat model. I connected OpenAI, and for this I just use ChatGPT or Mini. I could actually go for a lesser one and pay even less for its token usage. I'm also connected to my Supabase chat memory. So usually I want my interactions to be logged and conversation. So Martin is going to remember what was the last time we talked about. All right, so let's go over to my Hacker News. And whenever you create a tool for your custom tool for your agent, you want to make sure that the description is very clean and clear for your agent, right? For example, here I have call this tool to get my top 5 Hacker News today. And then I source it from my own database, right? I go database, I go lists, Hacker News, filter return response. So this is also important. We're going to get back to it later. Sometimes you need to specify input schema for your tools to work. In this particular case, I don't need it because when I go over to this flow where it's all executed, whatever comes here, whatever input this model is possessing, doesn't really matter because my first active module is gonna run and get me top 500 stories from Hacker News. And the reason why it's built this way, because actually Hacker News doesn't have better API. Like even here on their GitHub repository, they don't hide the fact that it is awkward. They say it's awkward, but it's possible to implement most of it using it. So in the case that I want to get top 5 stories right now, I need to get first 500 stories, like IDs from their Firebase data. And in order to do that, you just go down here, new top and best stories, right here, up to 500 top and new stories. And I wonder if I can get the top 5. I can query that parameter. Yeah. Well, anyway, just to make it a little more faster and simpler, I just copy this. I go to my HTTP request. I passed it here, top stories. I change to new stories. Print pretty, doesn't matter actually. I tested. All right, so I got all the 500 IDs. Now I just need top 5, and I want them to be objects with key value parameters. So I run my little code snippet here. Little JavaScript, bam. So I get array of objects, which I need to make another request to Hacker News for each ID to get the information, to get the title, URL, type of the story, and all that, right? This URL I find again over the GitHub repository. They have endpoint here. For example, a story. Okay, so I copy this, Command C, I pass it, and I change the static ID with my dynamic ID from here. Test it. Nice, we got our information sorted. Then next step is switch mode, which I implemented because sometimes, like the stories over the Hacker News, it could be a PDF file, it could be a Twitter post, it could be a YouTube link video. So there's different kind of links, and the scraper that I use, I just use a basic HTTP request, right? I get the whole web page inserted. And whenever it's a YouTube video or PDF file or Twitter post, it's almost, for that, I just have to do a different flow. But for now, I just created this routing node. So whenever the URL contains YouTube or URL contains twitter.com, if URL exists and if it doesn't exist, I have different route options, right? And then the main option is when the URL exists and it's not YouTube link and it's not Twitter, it's gonna go ahead. See, so I got one with a no URL, and I'm not sure which one was it. But let me run this node first. And let's rename it actually. So this is scrape the URLs. The URLs. Right? So let's scrape it. Oh, I got an error. Right? I got an error. Actually, the error branch. So why he couldn't script this? Why I couldn't script this? Go to address. So for some reason it couldn't script this. What kind of file is that? Wonder why. Oh, nice. I lost all the data that I had. Okay, let's run it again. Bam, bam, boom, boom. See, it's easier. There's no errors. Okay, so we scraped all 5 links this time. There was no error bunch. And then the next is parse it. So what I did here, basically created JavaScript that replaces a lot of tags and all this meta information. Gets my text a little more cleaner. So we're gonna run it. Nice. And the next, I'm using basic LLM node, and the prompt is very simple: summarize scrapped articles and provide clean text. Here we are. We run it. I use Google Gemini chat model. Here I don't pay for it because the usage is like basic, small. I don't remember the limits that they have, but for the task like this, I use it because it does the work just fine, and that's another beautiful thing about N8N. And you always have a chance to change like the model, and I'll show it in a second. Yeah, let me just finish what I'm doing here. I need to aggregate my 5 items here into the one. That's why we use this aggregated mode. You can even see on the picture what it does. Basically, put everything into one, right? So now I have only one item here with all the data. All the articles are summarized. Then I pass it to my field node, which name is response. All right, so here in my response node, make sure that you have a field that says response, and then here we're gonna just pass the text, right? Test it again. All right. Okay, so and I also mentioned that you always can change the model, right? So let's say if I want to use the ChatGPT, right? I can always go, where is it, OpenAI? Select one of the credentials, choose the model, and connect it. Here you go. So now instead of Gemini, it can be a ChatGPT. So easy to change. It can be Anthropic and all kinds. You can have your own LLM. You can have your LLM that runs on the edge using Cloudflare. There's so many different options that you have. So never limit yourself. Okay. All right. So this is what I wanted to showcase real quick today. This is my first video. I'm not too happy about it, but I hope I brought some value for you guys. I've been having so much fun building my own workflows, and I'm excited to show you guys more in upcoming videos. I'm gonna try to post every day, probably every other day for sure. It's gonna be more advanced tools and nuances, so you guys can go along and learn more. also want to implement the things that are actually can make you money, like lead generation, recruitment agents, marketing team agents, CRM management. All that is possible inside of N8N, and I'm going to cover it in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Love you all.